Well, hello YouTube. In this video we are going to explain how to create very simple, very straightforward and cheap beacon setup on some frequency where you can transmit. Like if you're radio amateur, you know your frequencies, you can do this on a PMR, or even you can do this professionally if you have those kind of needs. Well, here's the thing. We are going to experiment with these two. This is a PMR radio, Alan HP446, professional PMR radio. This will be our transmitting radio. This is a Vertex standard. This will be receiving radio or any kind of radio you have. Now, the good stuff is when we talk about beacons, to not use Baofeng radios, because Baofeng radios do have problem with Vox. And to this thing to work, we need to have Vox activation option on our transmitting radio. And also it will be a very good idea if that radio you do have just a normal 3.5 and 2.5 banana inputs. That is very, very important because it lowers down the costs. If you use something proprietary like Motorola and Hytera, you need all kind of cables. But with this kind of setup, it's really cheap and you can get the job done in like 5 minutes or less. Okay, so when we talk about cables, it's also very cheap solution. You can just go out on your local flea market, on websites, whatever you like, and just grab 3.5mm banana. This will go into PC sound output, audio output, and this end right here will go into radio. This radio do have a reverse like banana connectors if we compare it to Baofeng. Baofeng's 3.5mm connector for Baofengs are input, if I remember correctly, but this one and most other radios that are not Baofeng do have 2.5 for input. Okay, so 2.5 input in a radio. So let's do that. Let's just hook this thing right here. I'm going to hook this thing into PC output, okay, because that's pretty much it. You can create your own application or hardware to have beacon emitting audio, but the simplest solution is just to use free software, which is SIMPLEX. I'm gonna show that to you in a couple of seconds. Before that, it will be a smart idea for testing to activate CTCSS. Because some radios with Vox activation, if you don't have CTCSS and they are receiving something or interference, they will not transmit. So having CTCSS and having radio far away from interference is insurance that your radio will always transmit. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so we are here on channel 16. Actually, this is just PMR channel 8, but with activated CTCSS. In the left corner we see SAT here, but that's not satellite. That's just a message in this specific radio that CTCSS is activated. You can have that on your receiving radio, but it's really not necessary. It depends what you do. Right, so let's start this one. It will be on a channel 8. So same channels, just this one is with PL and this one is without. And see, interference is present right now. So maybe our radio will transmit, and if that doesn't happen, I will just remove it a couple of meters from desktop. When we talk about software, this is just normal SIMPLEX free software that is predominantly used to create very cheap parrot setup. Okay, so yeah, what kind of stuff we need to change here? Just go to configuration and you have many options like primary beacon, secondary beacon, transmitting some audio message, welcome message, and all kind of stuff, identification and so on, like a lot of stuff. But you don't care about that, okay, when we talk about beacons. You can just go to btext here, okay, for testing purposes, and this is the place where you set all those things. So here you have period in units of seconds or minutes. I'm gonna choose seconds, and we are going to put, let's say, 5 seconds here. We can do that through mouse, rolling down 5 seconds, because I don't want to have this video too much long. And you can here check to activate beacon. Down there you can just set specific file. So right now it's just Simplex folder and 7.3 in telegraphy. That's some wave file, but you can use pretty much, you can generate some wave file you like, okay, so whatever you like. So let's test this stuff by clicking here and let me observe radios. Will this thing transmit? Oh, I need to activate it, I think here. Okay, check to activate beacon and okay, and now there you go. There you go. So we do have a transmission. Now the reason why we don't hear that well, oh, it's transmitting too much, is probably because I'm using too high volume. So it's just enough to lower that down right here, like 6% or something. There you go. So the thing works with 10% in this case, or even less. Let's just have it at the volume of, I don't know, 6 for example. Let's observe. And let's observe software. See? Indication that things are working. Right, so yeah, let me change setup here, like beacon, and I'm gonna deactivate it, okay, because I don't wanna bother anyone. So guys, that's really simple and cheap and straightforward way to create beacons. I'm using here like PMR radios, PMR frequencies, but it will work on any radio with Vox activation. It's really simple setup. And also I'm gonna create a video how to create parrot. It's very simple. You just need additional cable that will go from this machine into microphone input on PC, right? Very simple stuff. Just make a mental note, okay? You don't wanna mess around too much with proprietary connectors. Grab some radio with 3.5 and 2.5 connections, and that is not Baofeng. You can use Baofeng, but I'm not really sure that it will work good, okay? So yeah, I was using a little bit too much audio, so let me check will this thing work. Hopefully I didn't burn like input inside this. So it is, let me see, this radio will not actually transmit if you have activated Vox. So when you press PTT, it is really good solution, you know, it's good protection. Some radios, when you activate Vox, they will pick up sound from this setup right here, but you can also press PTT and override Vox. Sometimes that's good, sometimes not. So let me just change Vox here to check stuff. How to do that? I think I need to press these two in the middle and okay, so there is no Vox anymore. Let me try to transmit. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test. So yeah, my radios are working. There is a lot of interference, but that's the situation when you are experimenting around the monitors and bunch of other electronics. Bottom line, guys, the cables you need are just extremely cheap. You can grab it on flea market, you can grab it on internet, you can grab it wherever you like. You can create your own stuff. So this is what I have at the moment. Just 3.5 millimeter banana, some RCI like type of connection. And this thing is really not important as long as on one side you have 3.5 and on other side you have 2.5. Okay, because you will never run into radio that do have 2 of 3.5s or 2 of 2.5s. Because you don't want to stick a wrong banana into wrong hole. Well, that's pretty much the case. So yeah, extremely cheap solution. All these things cost me like I don't know, like $1, maybe even less where I live, you know, because there is a lot of them on a flea market. And my advice is to get like this type of 2.5 millimeter connector with integrated stuff, because if you try to solder your own, you can do some kind of problems like short circuit or something like that. So just find some of these guys, some of these things, and you can also chop cables and have all other kind of combinations, but try to search these from old stereo systems, because you don't want to mess around with these cables. Because of two things. First, you're wasting time, and then you can create some kind of bad connection. So just grab something that is already done by some factory, and you will be happy. It will save you a lot of time. Okay, and probably these connectors are probably more quality than those you can buy on the market that you can solder on your own. Well, at least when we talk about stuff that comes from China. Most of the stuff. I'm not bashing, products from China. I just have bad experience with cheap connectors. Okay, so yeah, Simplex program, get it, install it. It works on Windows 10. It works perfectly. It's good for simplex and duplex repeaters, all kind of stuff. It is good for beacons. It can be used professionally. It's absolutely glorious piece of software. Yeah, well, thank you for watching, and see you next one. Ciao, ciao.